In a world of challenges and uncertainties, hope shines as a beacon, guiding us through the dark times and showing us the way to brighter days ahead. But what exactly is hope? Where does it come from? And how does it shape our lives? I'm Annie Bennett, and I'd love you to join me on this journey as I explore the meaning of hope. I'll delve into philosophical perspectives, personal stories, and scientific insights to understand the power of this elusive emotion. So whether you're seeking inspiration, comfort, or simply a deeper understanding of the human spirit, let's embark on this exploration together and discover the extraordinary power of hope. Welcome to the Chronicles of Hope podcast with me, Annie Bennett. Now, this is our first guest episode, and I'm just delighted to be talking to someone who's really been quite significant in my life over the past 4.5 years. And I know she's been significant in so many other people's lives as well. She's a global business strategist and she's a best-selling author, and her story really is quite remarkable. My guest this morning is the fabulous Lisa Johnson. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, I'm so excited that I'm your first guest. I didn't know that.
You are. And it is quite significant that you are. And I'm going to say significant far too many times now. But it is because, as I just said, you are responsible for my life completely changing. And I know that you are responsible for so many people's lives changing, probably thousands, would you say? Probably.
It'll be in the thousands, I guess.
Yeah. So it's just great that you're here today. So thank you so much for joining me. So we're going to talk about your business, what you do now, and why you're actually making a lot of changes at the moment, because it's quite significant. She says that word again, but what you're actually doing at the moment and why you're doing it. But first, can we go back? Can we go right back? Because I think the story of where you grew up, how you grew up, and your childhood really does have an impact, or had an impact on your adult life, didn't it? Very much.
So hugely.
Tell us about that.
At the time. I think there's so much to unpick in my childhood, and the more therapists I go to, the more I realise this. But basically, I grew up in a council house, as lots of people do, in poverty, as again lots of people do. And I really, my childhood was fairly normal up until the age of about 11. I was quite an ill child, but other than that, it was a fairly normal childhood. And then at the age of 11, a few things happened. I got a scholarship to a private school that was a very rich school with lots of, middle to high class type people going there. And I was very singled out for being the poor kid. Second thing that happened is my mother left. So she moved away, and we ended up being brought up by our father, me and my sister and brother. And he's Maltese. He's very introverted. So that was quite a different kind of childhood from then on. My mother is an extrovert and a very organized person. And then the third thing that happened is we became, as a family, Mormons. My dad became a Mormon, and so then we became Mormons, because that's what happens, and we got baptized into the Mormon religion. So all these three things happened in a year, and the bullying started from then too. I mean, I was bullied all the way through school, like badly, and it was a chaotic childhood.
It sounds like, because I know your story, because I've been in your world for quite a few years, and I know all these things. What I didn't realize was that all happened in the space of a year. That's quite a short space, isn't it?
Yeah, your whole life kind of changes in one go, and everything becomes completely different, and you learn to live in a different way. But trying to do that while being bullied every day at school was really difficult, and it wasn't like, I did eventually tell my dad about it, but I didn't want to at the beginning, because he was dealing with so much with my mum leaving and that kind of thing. I was like, I can't put more on his plate, having to just deal with it. And eventually I did, and I actually left school very early, like or I think I didn't really go for the last year, so I was about 15 and a half.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a tricky childhood, and you know, we dealt with it.
So I'm interested about your change from, you know, going to this school. Did you have, I mean, we're going to be obviously be talking about hope because that's what the podcast is about, but did you go into that new school with a real hope this is going to be brilliant? Yeah,
because only there was like 25 people chosen to have scholarships in this giant school, and so I felt special. I was like, okay, I'm going to get a really good education now. I'm going to be able to do really big things. I had big dreams, like I wanted to be an actress, I wanted to be a lawyer, all these different things. And so I was like, no, I'm going to be able to do those things. And I wasn't used to the fact that I was going to be perceived as different, because the school that I went to, that was primary school, had a mix of people from my council estate, people from, you know, other places in the town, and so it was kind of normal, but I was very abnormal at this school.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So how long into arriving there did the sort of hope disappear, if you like, or did it disappear? What happened?
The first week I remember going in there, and there was another girl from my school, the only other girl from my school who paid to go there. So I sat on a table with her. Now, she was like quite popular in primary school, and I wasn't. I was just a drifter. But you know, I sat on a table with her because we were the only ones that knew each other, and we got on okay. And then in week 2, even on day 1, people said, "Oh, why have you got a ticket to get free lunch?" So it was like right from the beginning, I was sort of singled out. By week 2, I had already become the kid. I didn't have a mother at that point that was living with me, so I didn't really know how to make the best of how I looked and those kind of things. And so by week 2, I was already seen as the unpopular kid. And I was sitting at this table with this girl. She was called Gabby, and her, like all the people on that round table in my forms class. And she said, "How the hell are you on our table?" Like, and she was fine with me before this, and it was like, "You don't get to sit with us," because she was popular. And that's when I knew, like, this is how it's going to be, and that's when hope left, really.
Yeah. So, you know, you said hope disappeared, hope went, but it did galvanize you, didn't it?
Well, it didn't then.
Didn't then? How long did it take for things to change?
A long time. When I left school with no self-esteem. So the first person that I met, I married. I was 17 at the time. He was a lot older. That turned into a domestic abuse situation. Still no hope. Then after that, I got a job, and it was like the first proper job I got. And it was in a factory where there was an office, and all of the girls in the office were all in their 20s. And I was there, but by then I was terrified of people, like proper scared, especially of women, of girls. And so I'd just keep my head down and do the work. What they saw isn't fear, but aloofness. She thinks she's better than us. And so I got bullied there. And in the end, I got sacked from that job by my boss. And my boss said to me, "I'm sacking you to protect you. I can't sack a whole workforce, but I can protect you by getting rid of you." And I was like, "Oh, great." So I was sacked from my first job. And then it was then that in a very dark time when there was no hope, I decided to give myself a test. And that, like, something hard, because I thought up to that point, this is what life is like. And I had this tiny thought that, what if it's not like this forever? What if people are wrong? What if there is hope? And so I thought, well, why not test that theory before you do anything drastic, which is what I was thinking of doing, and instead do something difficult, see if you can do it, prove people wrong. And then I was like, well, what kind of thing could I do that's like difficult? And the only thing I could think of, because I'd never gone to college or anything, and I hadn't really got any good GCSEs, was do a degree. So I was like, okay, well, what degrees are hard? And like medicine and law. And I already had a bit of an interest in law because I'd just been sacked from a job through no fault of my own. So I was like, okay, I'll do a law degree, but I'll do it while I'm working full time. So I got another job as an office junior and enrolled in this distance learning, Northumbria University. And I enrolled and it was going to take 4 years, and they just send you the books, you do all the work in the evenings, and then you go and take the exams every year. And I thought, if I can do that, I will never say to myself again, they were right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did. And I was a couple of marks, I think, away from a first when I did it. So that made me realize, I am smart. And I knew I was smart because I wouldn't have got the scholarship if I hadn't been. It gets knocked out of you very easily. People, as a person, you are much more likely to believe the negative about yourself.
Oh, yes.
Positive.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And so it's very easy if you hear something time and time again to start believing it.
Absolutely.
But then I had hope, because then I was like, well, if they're wrong about this, maybe they're wrong about everything. Maybe everybody's been wrong about everything, and that I can do more. And so then I started to work on my confidence and to work on my self-esteem. And I climbed a corporate ladder and did really well from where I came from. I did really well. I was only like 60,000 a year. I was working as a risk analyst in investment bank in Canary Wharf. I was living in London. All these things were like a dream to me when I was a kid. Like, no one really did that.
Yeah.
And so, I was doing okay. And then I was going through a divorce, kind of. Like, I knew I wasn't going to be with this person,
right,
who I'd married, the second person I'd married. And he knew it as well. But then I accidentally got pregnant by him. And kids weren't on the cards. I hadn't really thought whether I even wanted kids at this point. I was 35, so I obviously hadn't been planning it that much to be 35. And then it was twins.
Yes.
That changed everything all over again.
It did, rather, didn't it? It did. Yeah. And I think part of your journey of hope was really anchored in, I'm going to prove people wrong. I mean, that
all
really,
the time. I think up until 3 years ago.
Oh, really? That recently?
Yeah. I think I was driven constantly by a need to show, because when I first came into the online world, I was told I wouldn't make it here as well by bullies. I was told I'd never amount to anything online. I didn't have what it took. And that made me go, well, okay, I've been here before.
Game on, yes.
I'm pretty sure that's how I made, 20 million in 7 years, was simply to prove to people I could. But the thing with that, it's a good hope to have, to hope to prove people wrong. And I think that there's a place for it in the world. People often say not to be driven by negativity, but there's a place for it, for sure. But the problem, when you do inner work and you start working on yourself, you get to this point where suddenly you realize you really aren't doing anything for external validation anymore. And so the second that happened, my reason for doing everything went. Because if I'm not doing it for external validation anymore, and I'm trying to prove people wrong, those things don't go together.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like hopeless again, because then I was like, I don't even know why I'm doing this anymore.
Okay, so when was this? How long ago was this?
I'd say it was 2022.
Yeah. Right. That's really interesting. Yeah. Because I mean, I'm a very resilient person, and I don't now, I used to, but I don't now take on board, what other people say about me. Don't give honestly, don't give a monkeys.
I think it takes time to get to that.
Yeah, it does.
Because I definitely did take on, I've been trolled and bullied the whole time.
Oh yes, you've made an art form of it, haven't you?
Yeah, I have, and I did used to take it on board. Maybe not openly to other people. I would shrug it off, but inside it definitely hurt. But I got to this point. I think it was, I've talked before about how I was on the kind of success path that the whole world online thinks you should be on, 6 figures, 7 figures. And I got my Sunday Times bestselling book, which is one of the things to tick off. And I got my #1 podcast and tick that off. And I got invited to NECA and a mastermind and all these things that, be seen with the right people, all the things that are on a success path. But when I was doing this inner work, I was doing it at the same time as being on that path. And so suddenly I was at this place where I was like, I no longer want to be on this path, because it's not my version of success. it's not what I want, it's what everyone is telling me that I should want. I don't really care about what people think about me anymore, and therefore why do I need to do any of this?
It's just amazing, isn't it? I mean, you've talked a lot recently about, you know, people that arbitrarily throw out, oh, I want 10k months and 100k years and six. Yeah. Because I suppose it's because it's almost the culture, isn't it? It's the culture of online business.
But it's also because however much we say we don't care what people think, there's a part of us that does when we have that status. Our ego is driving that, because you don't. Why do you care if you have 7 figures or whatever if you're not doing it for a reason? Then I dig deeper with people and I go, okay, what's the reason you want the 7 figures? I want more money. Okay, why do you want?
Why? Yeah.
And they're like, well, I want more money so I can buy a nice, really flashy car. Why do you want that? Because it looks good. To who?
Yes.
Like when you get to it, if you keep asking the whys, when it's an arbitrary figure, you eventually get to the fact that it's for other people and what they think of you. When it's not an arbitrary figure, when it's like, well, I need to make 14,000 a month, it's usually because they've worked out what they need to have the life that they want, and it's nothing to do with other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is how your business is now changing, isn't it? You're going very much from, oh, you know, if you want to be a 6-7 figure business, come to me. You're very much now, why do you want that?
Yeah,
you know, tell me why.
Money is important, and I really want people to make money, but not for the hell of it, because the problem is you'll climb a mountain and you'll get to the top of that mountain, and behind it you'll then see there's another bloody mountain bigger than the one you're on.
Yeah.
And then when's the top? When do you feel success? When do you feel achievement? And I realized that achievement doesn't come from the money, and I wish I'd known this 5 years ago, but we live and learn. But the only thing that I can do is teach others what I've learned at this point, because not many people get to where I've got to.
Absolutely.
And so don't have the experience of being very poor to very rich and being able to then give the lessons learned on that. And my lesson is, you probably don't need 7 figures.
Absolutely. I mean, when I was diagnosed in July, and you very kindly sent me a message, what can I do to help? And one of my first messages back was, I've worked out that I can pay off my mortgage in 2 years if I have so many people in my membership. And you were like, right, game on, let's do this. and I think this is very much where you are now working.
Yeah, because you had a reason. There's a reason for it. Let's go and get it. Without that reason, any obstacle that comes in your way is going to feel difficult. Without the reason of why you're doing something, you will be guided by so many falsehoods out there, so many scam artists, so many people promising you things that can't happen, that you will fall for them. You need this reason, and the reason has to be more than money, because money itself doesn't actually create contentment or happiness. Of course, it's amazing. It gives us opportunities. It gets us out of pickles. It gives us security. It's good for those things, but actually health is really important. Family is really important. Actually having hobbies and experiences that are not your business is really important. And yet most business people I talk to, they are their business. The whole identity of them is wrapped up in their business. I was that too. I don't want my identity to be my business. I want people to just know me. I mean, what a legacy. She made a load of money. Great.
Yes, there's images of sort of dollar bills coming out your head.
It's really helpful, kind
of It's really more a case of, don't tell me how much money you want. Tell me what is it you hope for? What do you
hope your life is going to look like?
Let's
create this business and this money to support this life, rather than having a life that supports the business, which is what I see most people doing. And I know that there'll be people out there going, well, it's easy for you to say, you've already made the money, but I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm changing everything. Like I believe you need to streamline your whole life and business to have this contentment, because people's nervous systems are just through the roof at the moment, because they're so dysregulated from all the noise online and the feeling that they need to work all the time and hustle all the time, that they are not just burning out, because I think burning out is one thing, but they are losing themselves.
Yeah.
And that's not acceptable. We can't lose ourselves to business.
I know. I mean, I've experienced this over the past couple of months because I've changed completely, and partly with your help as well, completely changed how I'm doing things. I knew when I got the diagnosis that I'd need to stop making the wedding cakes because it's just not compatible with, because you book 2 years in advance, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought, right, well, we can get rid of that. And then I thought, well, I have my membership, and I had various little training courses and bits and bobs, and say with your help, it's all now in the membership. So it's just one thing that I'm concentrating on. Yeah. And I'm finding that I can spend 2 days a week, 2.5 days a week on that. And then the rest of my time is either resting, if I'm tired out, or I can be working on the charity that I'm setting up, and or the podcast and the blog and the fundraising.
Things that you actually want to do. So imagine if you'd have done that before your diagnosis. And the time that you would have had to do the other things in life that you want to pursue. This is why I don't want it to be, people do what you did. They do what I did. They wait until there's a health problem. They wait until there's a family issue. They wait until it's necessary for them to streamline. What about if we did that before?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a true, I don't have regrets about anything. Anything I've done in my life, if it's gone wrong, it's a mistake that I've learned from. I'm always banging on about there are no mistakes, there are learning opportunities. So everything that I've done, and I'm sure that you're the same, every experience you had in your younger life, although negative, has fed into what you do now.
See where it leads to. Well, there's no way I would be able to have the world view I have if I, when people come to me and they're like, I can't afford to pay the rent, like I need to make some money really quickly. I have been there. I understand. And so I get it more than somebody that's, not had that adversity.
Yeah, absolutely. My life now is full of hope, even though, I had the diagnosis that most people would run a mile
say was hopeless.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's because I've now streamlined, I know what I'm doing. I've really got aims, and my charity, we've now got missions. Me and my daughter wrote 3 missions. This is what we're about. This is what we're doing. And I've got so much purpose, and I'm so, productive because of that.
The purpose will drive you.
It's just amazing. I mean, 6 months ago, I was trying to do this, that, and the other, and I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to post on TikTok, I've got to, all these things. But now it's right. Okay, academy, charity, and it's really
time. I think that the knowledge of time being finite gives us the most clarity that we ever get in life. Now, whether that's a diagnosis for ourselves, whether it's a family member dying, it doesn't matter what it is, the sudden knowledge of it gives us clarity every time. Me and you have spoken. I have a massive fear of death. And that fear of death has given me purpose for so long, and given me, a sense of time being taken. That I've always had clarity because of it. I've never messed around with things or tried things out. I'm doing it and I'm going for it.
Do it now.
I know that time is running out, whether that's 2 years or 50 years, we're still on the same journey. And that's important to me. Like Steve Jobs said, one of his biggest reasons for doing all the things he's done, and the reason that he thinks he's successful, is because he's very aware of death.
Yeah. Is it a legacy thing, do you think?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's a time thing. I think it's that we only get one crack at this. And if we only do, we'd have time to muck about. We don't have time to go well, I'll figure it out. I'll figure out what's the right thing. Or one day I'll do this thing I've always wanted to do. Now time. Just do it now if you're going to do it. You don't know if you're going to hit by a bus tomorrow. Yeah. Do it today.
I've talked about that a lot, about, I've guested on other podcasts and blogs and things. And one of the things I've said is there's no more, one day I'll. It's now. You want to do it. You've got to start doing it now. Because I see my future. I mean, if I haven't got at least 10 years, I'll be really cross, but at least 10.
Yeah.
Whereas before it might have been, I'm 58 now. So possibly 90, possibly
Yeah.
40 years.
Well, the thing is that before it was vague and we didn't really think about it. That's the difference. When it's vague, it's like, oh, we've got some years.
Yeah.
But when we've given ourselves an actual target
number,
it becomes very, like I say in rooms to people all the time, that we have 4,000 weeks if we're lucky. 4,000 weeks, and most of us are well past halfway of that. And I also, I did a talk last week on stage where I said, like, you're all worried about like what people think of you and like who's argued with who and who said what online. Just know that in 50 years you'll all be dead.
Yeah.
Change your perspective. It really does change your perspective. It's like, what are you worrying about?
Yeah. I mean, I often think in terms of, will this matter this time next week? Will this matter this time in 6 months? And if the answer's no, then don't worry about it now. Why are you?
Why bother?
Why bother? Yeah.
It's definitely changed how I think over the years, thinking in that way, like, will this matter?
Yeah.
Because most won't.
Yeah. It's I mean, I'd say I was a primary teacher for 30 years, so my armor was very much thick, and not necessarily by the children, because children are children, but by people, colleagues, by parents, by management. And you do build that resilience and I really taught myself to think, will this matter next week? No, it won't, so I'm not going to worry about it.
I think that's a really good way to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Gosh, this has been such a fabulous conversation. Thank you so much.
There's so much I want to ask you. I can't wait until I have you on my podcast, because I'm like, I want to know this and this. And how you now think, because you're going through what I speak to about everyone. Like, if you had a diagnosis of something, would you then get on and do this thing you're scared of doing?
Yeah.
And you are doing all of those things.
I am.
You are very inspirational because of it.
Bless you. Bless you. I mean, if you'd asked me 6 months ago, what would you do if someone said you had incurable cancer? I'd have probably said, oh, I'd really panic and I'd cry and I'd, go to Bali or whatever, but I didn't do that at all.
No,
I was quite measured, quite calm. Right. Okay, let's do something about this then, and it's amazing what you can surprise yourself when something really traumatic happens. It's amazing what comes out of the woodwork of your personality.
The resilience and the resourcefulness and all of the things that you have come to the front. And it's amazing to see.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. Now, I'm going to ask, you're my first guest, Lisa, and I'm going to be asking all of my guests whether you have a message of hope for everybody, for my listeners. What might your message of hope be?
My main message of hope is something that I've used my whole life. And this is, if something is happening that you feel is like unsurmountable, or it's really affecting you, maybe your business isn't working, maybe someone is trolling you online, health, those kind of things. However you're feeling in that moment, and there's a bit of mindfulness in this, just tell yourself, this too shall pass. However you're feeling in that minute will pass. I've been through so many things that I've thought, I can't do this for one more second. And I've had to tell myself, this too shall pass. And it does. Yeah, it does. How you feel passes at every different stage. So my message of hope is just, when you're feeling hopeless, tell yourself that. And know that every traumatic thing, every difficulty you've had in your life up till now, you have surpassed. You have come over, which means the next time you're in one, you will again. Yeah. If we know that, we can always have hope.
Brilliant. That's fabulous. Thank you, Lisa. Now, if people are listening to this and thinking, who is this? I need to get in touch. I need to find out more about Lisa. Where can they find out more about you? And because I know you're currently doing, you're launching, aren't you?
I am. I'm launching a new program called Velocity. But the best thing to do, the way to get in touch with me and not my team, Instagram, because I am the only person that responds on it. So I'm on @Lisa Johnson Strategist, and you can just get in touch there, and it will be me that answers.
Fabulous. Lisa Johnson, thank you so much for being with me today.
Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for listening to the Chronicles of Hope podcast with me, Annie Bennett. I hope you found inspiration, comfort, or perhaps even a newfound perspective around the meaning of hope. To find out more about the aims of the Chronicles of Hope organisation, please visit thechroniclesofhope.org, where you will find links to our social media accounts and where you will be able to make a much needed and appreciated donation. Thank you.